Okay, in this video what we're essentially learning is just a super good shortcut. And it only works under very specific conditions, but they're conditions that come up now and then. They're fairly common, you'd be surprised. So if we can recognize them, it just gives you that ability to factor them real quick, you know the shortcut. And I'll also tell you that if you don't know the shortcut, you can still think of it as a trinomial, even though they tend to present themselves as binomials. So first of all, let's take a look at what we're talking about. This is called the difference of two squares. This is a square, x squared obviously is a square. 9 is a perfect square, it's 3 times 3. So you can think of this in your mind as x squared minus 3 squared, right? 3 squared is 9. So this is the difference of two things that are perfect squares. Okay, and whenever you recognize that you got one of these, it factors just like this. You just take the square root of both of these, okay, and you write down basically x minus 3 and x plus 3, okay, and that's all there is to it. So if you can recognize it and remember that it's just x minus the thing and x plus the thing, boom, you are done. And don't get upset if you think, oh, that's just one more thing I got to remember. You know, why do I need to remember a special case when, you know, I don't have to? That's fine. As long as you remember, you got to think of this as x squared plus 0x minus 9. And now you're thinking, well, I need two numbers that multiply to -9 and add up to 0. Well, guess what? Two numbers that multiply to -9 and add up to 0 are positive 3 and negative 3. And if you remember how to factor a trinomial where the leading coefficient is a 1, boom. X minus 3, x plus 3, and you've accomplished the same thing. Okay, so this is how it works. This is the shortcut if you can remember it. Highly recommend you remember it. Here's why. When you're dealing with something like x squared minus 4 over here, if you can recognize that this is just the difference of two squares, then you just look at it and you go, oh, that's x minus 2, x plus 2, boom. If you're taking the ACT, this is a pretty awesome tool. It really speeds up a lot of your calculations. When you have something like this, bound to be one of these on the ACT, okay? Okay, let's take a look at this one, 9x squared minus 16. Really good idea to have all your perfect squares kind of in the back of your head. 1 is a perfect square. Okay, sometimes people forget that 1 is a perfect square. The next perfect square is 4. The next perfect square is 9. The next one's 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, 121, 144. Those are all perfect squares, and they're just, you know, 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, 5 times 5, so on. If you just kind of keep those numbers in the back of your mind, when you see them, they'll start to really pop out. And you'll go, oh, look at this. I've got 9x squared. Your brain is already breaking this down as 3x squared minus 4 squared. I've got 3x, so all I have to write is 3x minus 4, 3x plus 4. Boom. You just factored that thing. Okay? Really nice. 25x squared minus 64. That's just a 5x minus 8, 5x plus 8. Boom. Remember I told you 1 is a perfect square. If you have something like x squared minus 1, difference of two squares. X minus 1, x plus 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Okay? Now, really important that you remember this. This only works for the difference of two squares. Okay? It works for the difference. That means when you're subtracting two squares, this factoring technique works. If you're adding two squares, right, let's say I've got x squared plus 25. It doesn't work when you're adding, and there's no shortcut here. Okay? So it does not work when you have the addition of two squares. So you got to keep that in mind. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about cubes. And we're going to talk about the difference in the sum of two cubes. And there you can actually do both. You can do the difference and the sum. But when it comes to squares, there's only a shortcut, quick and easy method for the difference of two squares. Okay? So that's all for this lesson.